Welcome to the Explainer. You know that feeling of being totally buried in information? Well, today we're looking at a tool that might just be the solution. We're going to put it to the test by trying to make sense of a massive, complex industry in just a few minutes. So, let's say you've got to get up to speed on something huge and fast-moving, like the entire automotive industry. We're not just talking about cars anymore. This is a full-blown revolution, and you need to understand it like yesterday.
First off, you've got this absolute tidal wave of information about electric vehicles, right? New battery tech, new government rules, what people actually want to buy. It feels like it's changing every single day.
And then, on top of that, there's the whole self-driving car thing. This isn't just some fancy feature. It's a technology that could totally change how we get around, and you've got dozens of companies all making different claims.
Oh, and don't forget the supply chains. You know, a single factory shuts down somewhere, and suddenly there's a global microchip shortage. Or the hunt for battery minerals completely reshapes an economy. Keeping up with it is basically a full-time job.
And finally, you're trying to untangle this crazy knot of regulations on everything from emissions to safety to data privacy, and they're different everywhere you look. Trying to get one clear picture from all of this, it's a lot.
Okay, so this is exactly where a new kind of tool can be a game changer. We're going to use the auto industry as our guinea pig to explore a research assistant that's designed to cut right through this kind of complexity. It's called Notebook LM, and you can think of it like your own personal AI research assistant. But, and this is a big but, it's got one huge difference from the chatbots you're probably used to. It isn't designed to search the whole internet. It's designed to become an expert only on the stuff you give it. Okay, this is the key. You really need to get this part. Its answers are based only on the documents you upload. This is huge because it means it can't just make stuff up or hallucinate facts. That makes it an incredibly reliable research partner because it's grounded in your data. So how do you actually use it? Well, you start by building your own little custom knowledge base. You're basically teaching the AI what it needs to know and only what it needs to know for your project. And getting started is super simple. Seriously, it's just 3 steps. Create a new notebook, click Add Sources, and then upload your files. That's it. You're ready to go. And you can feed it pretty much anything. For our auto industry project, we could throw in dense PDF market reports, our own notes from Google Docs, links to news articles, heck, even transcripts from YouTube videos of industry keynotes. All right, so once your sources are in, this is where the fun really begins. You can start asking questions and just watch the AI pull together answers from all your different documents all at once.
Let's kick things off with a pretty broad question. Instead of me digging through a dozen different files, I'm just going to ask Notebook LM straight up.
And boom, look at that. It pulls a critical stat right out of one of our research papers. It instantly tells us that over 90% of crashes are caused by human error. That one sentence basically frames the entire argument for self-driving tech. Okay, so it can handle broad ideas. What about a super specific number? This is the kind of thing that would usually have me scrolling through pages and pages of a report. And just like that, it spits out the exact number from a market report we uploaded. Over $2.1 trillion. No hunting, no squinting at tables, just the answer. Okay, so it can find a needle in a haystack, but can it compare a bunch of needles? Let's ask it to break down that same market report and actually compare the different parts of the market by value. Now, this is really cool. Look how it automatically organizes the data into this super clean table. It didn't just find the numbers, it structured them for us, showing that passenger cars are king. But wow, that EV market is already worth $300 billion? But wait. It gets even cooler. Notebook LM can do more than just give you text. One of its wildest features can actually turn your research into a podcast. Yeah, you heard that right. It's an experimental feature called Audio Overview, and it creates a little two-voice discussion based on your sources. Early testers said this format was way more engaging and made complicated stuff a lot easier to digest. All right, so this tool is obviously pretty powerful. But like any tool, it's really important to know what it's great at and where it still has some room to grow before you dive in. The biggest strength is a no-brainer. You get answers you can actually trust because they're based on your sources. But it's not perfect. Users have pointed out that there's a word limit per source, and sometimes really huge files can cause problems. You might also run into a few upload errors or find tiny inaccuracies in its summaries. And that's why you have to think of it as an amazing research assistant, right? Not a replacement for you.
It'll find that needle in the haystack, but you're still the expert who needs to double-check the really critical details.
A tool like this can totally change how you work with information. It can seriously speed up that whole process of going from just a pile of data to a real insight. And that just leaves one last question for you to think about.